Pentagon officials said this week that Venezuelan patrol boats made an unsafe approach toward us forces. That warning became real at 4:36 a.m. when the dark water outside Puerto Cabello suddenly shifted. As I report this, 4 Venezuelan patrol boats rush out of the harbor with no lights and no radio calls, moving fast across the black surface. Their engines push them past 40 knots as they head toward what they believe is a lone American destroyer. But something feels off. Instead of slowing down or changing course, the boats angle directly toward the US route. Inside the Eisenhower strike group, radar screens tighten. 4 fast contacts, no ID. A straight track line aimed at a carrier group, not a single ship. Alarms hit fast and calm, voices turn sharp as the Gravely and Mason slide into a protective wedge. The tension rises in seconds. This is not a routine morning on the water. And the Venezuelan crews have no idea how wrong their target really is. If you want to follow what happens next in this rising confrontation, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a moment. What happens off the coast of Venezuela is never simple. This stretch of water looks open on a map, but for the people who work here every day, it is one of the tightest and most sensitive zones in the Caribbean. Cargo routes pass through it. Coast Guard patrols cross it. Navy ships and surveillance aircraft move over it at all hours. Every captain knows the rules out here, and every mistake has a cost. That is why this approach by the Venezuelan boats is so serious. The Eisenhower strike group is not drifting close to land. It is more than 80 miles offshore, well inside international waters. But older radar systems on the Venezuelan coast can turn a carrier and a destroyer into the same blurry shape. When the radar picture froze overnight, the crews believed they were dealing with one ship, not a full strike group. For the US Navy, the risk is different. A carrier is a floating city with thousands of people on board. A small, fast boat moving at 40 knots can close the distance before anyone has time to think. It can crash, fire a burst, or launch something hidden. That is why the strike group reacts fast when a contact behaves aggressively. The first goal is always to avoid a fight, but the second is to make sure no one gets caught off guard. This entire moment shows how a small error can turn into something bigger. Old data, political pressure, and fast-moving boats can mix into a dangerous situation. It is not about pride. It is not about proving strength. It is about how close 2 nations can come to a real clash even when neither side wants it. And that is why this encounter matters. It shows how thin the line is between a tense morning and a crisis that spreads far past these waters. If you think this area is becoming a real flashpoint, press 1. And if you believe both sides handled it the best they could, press 9 and hit subscribe so you stay with us through the next steps of this confrontation. At 5:02 a.m., the first operator inside the Eisenhower's Combat Center leans toward his screen. 4 fast contacts move in a straight line with no drift and no radio call. That alone tells the room something is wrong. Fishing boats do not move like this. Smugglers do not move like this. These tracks look trained. The call goes out. 4 fast contacts, 27 miles, closing. Voices tighten. USS Gravely and USS Mason shift into intercept positions. Turrets turn toward the south, slow and heavy. A clear sign the ship is preparing for real action. Ahead of them, the Venezuelan-led boat PG-23 pushes harder. Its captain thinks he is rushing a lone US destroyer, unaware that the radar return he saw is the shadow of a full carrier strike group. Minutes later, the Venezuelan boats break silence. "You are entering Bolivarian waters. Alter course immediately." The Eisenhower does not answer. Silence sends its own message. When the boats reach visual range, the mistake becomes clear. Instead of a small destroyer, a massive flight deck rises out of the morning haze. Aircraft, elevators, and steel walls tower over the water. It is the Eisenhower, and they are much too close. 2 MH-60R Seahawks drop low above them. Their cameras zoom in and confirm guns manned on all 4 boats. The live feed hits every screen across the strike group. Then the first big shift. The Venezuelan boats fire short bursts into the water. They may think it is simple posturing, but to the US Navy, a muzzle flash is still a muzzle flash. USS Gravely locks fire control radar instantly. Inside PG-23, alarms blast and red lights spin. The warning tone tells the crew exactly what is happening. They are now a target. On Gravely, CIWS barrels spin up, ready to fire thousands of rounds in seconds. The tension climbs fast. One mistake here could set off something no one can undo. From above, the Seahawk operator calls out that a gunner on PG-23 just pulled the charging handle on his weapon. A small move, maybe nerves, but it means the gun is ready. Inside the Eisenhower, rules of engagement are confirmed. Self-defense is authorized if even one shot comes their way. The distance shrinks. The seconds stretch. Everyone on both sides feels how close they are to a real clash. If you think Gravely should have fired a warning burst at this moment, press 1. If you think holding fire was the right call, press 9 and hit subscribe to follow the next step of this standoff. The sea grows tense as the situation pushes higher. The Venezuelan boats keep closing, and every second counts. On the Gravely, the team braces as the ship shifts a few degrees into a blocking angle. Inside Mason's combat center, the tactical officer watches the range numbers fall. In close water, distance disappears fast, and everyone feels it. Then the formation changes. 2 Venezuelan boats angle outward while the other 2 push straight toward the US ships. It is not drifting, it is a trained move, the kind used to test reaction or get better video. The strike group responds immediately. Gravely slides left. Mason shifts right. The formation tightens around the Eisenhower. Above them, a Seahawk circles and sends back clear images. Crews on the Venezuelan decks grip their weapons and stare at the destroyers. One man stays locked on his gun mount. Another moves along the rail, watching every turn the US ships make. At 6:06 a.m., the tension jumps again. PG-23 breaks formation and charges forward alone. Spray shoots off its bow as it races straight toward Mason. A warning goes out. Standby countermeasures. 2 green flares fire into the sky, telling the boat to turn away immediately. But PG-23 keeps coming. Inside Mason's combat center, the tactical officer gives the line no one wants to hear. If that craft crosses 1,000 yards, warning burst authorized. The room tightens. Even the Seahawk crew goes quiet as they watch the boat cut through the water. At this speed, one wrong move can trigger a chain no one can stop. Then the Seahawk operator calls out new movement. The gunner on PG-23 adjusts his weapon again. It may be nerves, but right now even a small action can change everything. And then the pressure breaks. PG-23 suddenly pulls a hard turn, its bow dropping as it swings away. A tall spray rises behind it. The other boats scatter too, no longer pushing toward the strike group. The threat fades, but relief does not come quickly. Everyone knows how close this moment came to becoming something far worse. These seconds will shape how both nations talk after today. They were only one decision away from a real clash. If you think PG-23 turned because of the flares, press 1. If you think they realized they were seconds from being fired on, press 9 and hit subscribe to follow the next phase of this confrontation. For a moment, it looks like the confrontation is finally fading. The Venezuelan boats pull away, and the strike group holds steady without pushing the situation further. From the Eisenhower, the water seems calm again, but no one relaxes. Close calls often return fast. Then the radar picture shifts. PG-23, the same boat that charged earlier, begins circling instead of leaving. The turn widens until its path bends back toward the southern side of the formation. Operators call it out immediately. This is not drift. It is deliberate. No one knows why. It could be a bad order, a second attempt to test the US ships, or simply a push to capture one more video angle. But intention does not matter when a boat moves toward a carrier group. Mason reacts first, sliding into position between PG-23 and the Eisenhower. Systems reset. Missile doors rise again. The message is clear. Do not come closer. Above them, the Seahawk drops lower. Its camera shows tension on PG-23's deck. A gunner adjusts his mount slightly, not aiming, but enough to keep everyone on edge. The range numbers fall slowly. The water feels tight. For nearly 20 seconds, nothing moves fast. PG-23 holds its angle. then shifts slightly, then finally commits to a turn away. The bow leans into the water and the boat pulls south for real this time. The others follow, scattering out of the area. The pressure breaks, but no one believes the danger is gone. Twists like this show how fast even a quiet moment can turn sharp. If you think PG-23 circled back because of confusion, press 1. If you think they intended another close run, press 9 and hit subscribe so you stay with us as this confrontation reaches its peak. The morning reaches its breaking point as PG-23 fades from view. For a moment, the water looks calm again, but no one on the Eisenhower believes it is over. The tension built through the last hour still sits heavy on every screen. Then another alert hits the combat center. One remaining Venezuelan boat has turned back, not rushing in, but angled directly toward the edge of the formation. Operators call it out fast. Range numbers drop slowly but steadily. Mason shifts into a tighter shield position. Gravely steadies its guns. Above them, the Seahawk circles lower, its camera catching the tense faces on the incoming boat. They hold their course, even if they look unsure doing it. Inside Mason's combat center, the tactical officer repeats the line that guides the whole response. If they fire, we respond. No more warnings, no extra steps. One shot would force a reaction. At 6:08 a.m., the moment tightens. The Venezuelan boat keeps coming. The Seahawk operator calls out new movement, a gunner adjusting his mount again. It might be nerves, but it is close enough to readiness to send a quiet shock through the strike group. On Gravely, the CIWS barrels spin up, the high metal whine filling the deck. Inside the Eisenhower, voices stay calm but clipped. Rules of engagement are confirmed. Self-defense only, do not fire first. They are seconds from a real clash. Then everything freezes. The carrier's deck crews stop moving. The Seahawk holds position. The entire formation waits for the boat to make its choice. And then the break comes. The Venezuelan boat slows, dips its bow, and swings hard left, throwing a wall of spray behind it. The other boats turn away too. The danger drops fast, but there is no celebration. Everyone on the ships knows how close this came. A calm voice goes across the net. Contacts retreating. Hold weapons. Maintain track. The strike group stays steady. No chase, no rise in tension. Just quiet control as the boats fade across the morning sea. With the sun lifting over the water, the ocean finally looks calm. But inside every ship, no one forgets how one small move could have changed far more than this morning. If you think Mason should have fired a warning burst, press 1. If holding steady was the right call, press 9 and hit subscribe so you stay with us for the final chapter of this confrontation. When the last Venezuelan boat fades into the haze, the sun rises over the Caribbean, but the tension from the morning is still heavy on every ship. The Eisenhower strike group settles at 20 knots and heads north in silence. From far away, nothing looks unusual, yet the sailors on board know how close they came to a real clash. A few hours later, the standoff shifts to politics. Venezuelan state media releases shaky clips showing their patrol boats rushing across the water, claiming they forced an American ship to leave. The story spreads fast online, even though the footage tells only part of what actually happened. In Washington, the Pentagon pushes back with radar data, navigation logs, and satellite images proving the strike group was more than 80 miles offshore. Officials call the Venezuelan actions unsafe and deliberate. Neither side steps back, and two very different versions of the same morning begin to take shape. For the crews on Gravely, Mason, and the Eisenhower, this was far from routine. They saw how quickly things can go wrong out here. A gunner adjusting his weapon, a boat turning a few degrees, or a burst fired for video could have triggered a response that no one could stop once it started. Seconds were all that separated a tense encounter from something much worse. This part of the Caribbean is busy and politically charged. Old radar systems, fast patrol boats, and pressure from both governments mean even small moves can become major incidents. The line between a warning and a crisis is thin, and everyone working these waters knows it. Official reports may label the event a standard interaction, But the sailors who watched range numbers fall and weapons spin up know what really happened. They lived the moment where any wrong decision could have changed more than this single morning. And they know it will not be the last close call. These waters will see more fast boats, more tense approaches, and more mornings where judgment decides everything. If you think this standoff shows how fragile peace at sea really is, press 1. If you believe the strike group handled it exactly right, press 9 and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next turn in this rising tension.